Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranams to all the devotees. Thank you for joining in for the study of Srila Prabhupada's book, Raja Vidya, the King of Knowledge. So, we are currently reading the chapter number 7. Yeah. So we were discussing about how we get the real transcendental knowledge. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Right? We can understand transcendental subject matters only by approaching a spiritual master and rendering service unto such a spiritual master, and also inquiring in a submissive mood to such spiritual master. That is a way to obtain transcendental knowledge. One cannot obtain transcendental knowledge simply by mental speculation or by simply studying the scriptures, because with our material intelligence, our material brain, we cannot understand transcendental subject matters. So there is a way to acquire any kind of knowledge, right? Even in the material world, we were discussing yesterday how we have to get Bharatnatyam skills. We go to Bharatnatyam teacher. If we want to acquire music skills, we go to a music teacher. If you have to acquire academic knowledge, also we go to a school. In that way, when we have to understand transcendental subject matters, we have to go to a bona fide guru, right? And how do we identify who is a bona fide guru? A bona fide guru is one who has realized the scriptures by hearing from a bona fide spiritual master, and has realized the conclusions and is able to convince others about those conclusions, right? Those are the qualifications of a guru, and he comes in one of the 4 bona fide paramparas, right? That's what we were seeing yesterday, and Prabhupada is explaining how a person cannot become a doctor simply by getting the books of medicine and reading it, right? So you have to go to a medical school or medical college. You have to study, do study under a qualified teacher for about 4 or 5 years, and then you pass an exam, and then you become a qualified doctor, right? Simply by being born in a family of doctors does not qualify somebody to become a doctor. Similarly, simply by born in a Brahminical family, one cannot become a Brahmana. Simply by being born in a family where one does not practice, although the situations will be very conducive in such a family to understand the transcendental subject matters or to understand the Bhagavad Gita, etc. However, one cannot get qualified or one cannot get knowledge simply by being born in a particular family. So one has to make an endeavor to understand this transcendental subject matter by approaching a bona fide spiritual master. And you also saw how Krishna himself accepted a spiritual master. Krishna accepted Sandipani Muni as a spiritual master, right? And he learned the various art forms from Sandipani Muni, like that. All right. So let's move on. We have to read from at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was talking to Krishna. Right now we're going to say how and until the second chapter, when Arjuna was continuously speaking, giving reasons why he should not be fighting the war. Right? I will incur sinful reactions, or all my relatives will die. Then whom will I show off my kingdom to? The woman will become unprotected because the men in the family all will be killed, etc., etc. He was giving so many reasons why he should not be fighting the war, and Krishna was patiently listening. Krishna was not saying anything until asishyaste aham sadi mam tvam prapannam, until Arjuna declared that I am your student now, please let me know what I'm supposed to be doing. Until such time, Krishna did not speak at all. So that is what is being explained by Srila Prabhupada next paragraph. So let's continue to read. At the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was talking to Krishna. Okay, Karpagavali Mataji, I can see your hand up. You want to read? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Thank you. At the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was talking to Krishna just like a friend, and Krishna was questioning how he, as a military man, would give up fighting. But when Arjuna saw that friendly talks would not make a solution to his problems, he surrendered to Krishna, saying, Siyas e ham sadi mam.
Shishya means disciple. Shishyaste aham means I am now your disciple. Shadi mam tvam prapannam. Prapannam means to surrender. I am surrendering unto you, O Krishna, and please accept me as your disciple. That's 2.7. Yes, ma'am.
Now I am your disciple, and the soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me about Gita 2.7. This is the process. It is not that we should blindly surrender. We should be able to inquire, uh, inquire with intelligence. With that inquiry, we cannot make advancement. In school, a student who makes inquiries from the teacher is usually an intelligent student. It is, scroll up, Mataji. Scroll up, no. It is generally a sign of intelligence when a small child inquires from his father, "Oh, what is this? Oh, what is that?" We may have a very good spiritual master, but if we have no power to inquire, we cannot progress. Nor should the inquiry be of the nature of a challenge. One should not think, "Now I will see what kind of spiritual master is he is. I will challenge him." I inquire is paripra
Prashnena,
Parasyanena,
Prashnena.
Pariprashnena should be on the subject of service, Sevaya. Without service, our inquiries will be futile. But
Very
even before
important.
making inquiries, we should have same qualification. If we go to a store to purchase some gold or jewelry, we should know nothing about gold or jewels. We are likely to be we are likely to be cheated. If we go to a jeweler and say, "Can you give me a diamond?" He will understand that this is a feud. He would charge us any price for anything. That kind of searching will not do at all. We first have to become a little intelligent, for it is not possible to make spiritual progress otherwise. The beginning injection of the Vedanta Sutra is Atato
Atato Brahma Jignasa.
Tato Brahma Jijnasa. Now it is the time to inquire about Brahman. The word Ata means that one who is intelligent, who has come to the point of realizing the basic frustrations of material life, is capable of making inquiry. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that one should inquire from a spiritual master about subjects that are beyond this darkness. This material world is by nature dark, and it is artificially lightened by fire. Our inquiries should be about the transcendental worlds which lie beyond this universe. If one is desirous to find about these spiritual worlds, he should seek out a spiritual master. Otherwise, there is no point in searching. If I want to study the Bhagavad Gita or Vedanta Sutra in order to make a material improvement, it is not necessary to find a spiritual master. One should want to one should first want to inquire about Brahman and then search out a master who has a perfect vision of the absolute truth. Jnanas Tattva Darsana. Krishna is the supreme Tattva, absolute truth. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says,
Krishna.
Manushayam Sagastreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaya Yatadam Abhisiddhanam Kasinmam Veti Tattvata. Out of many thousands of men, thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Bhagavad Gita 7.3. Thus, out of many perfected,
So much, Mataji Haribol.
thank you, Mataji.
So in the last 3-4 paragraphs that we read, Prabhupada is actually talking about how the material world is dark, right? How do we say that material world is dark? Because when we are clouded by the ignorance, we cannot see things as they are. That's why we always say, Om Agyana Timrandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Agyana Timrandasya. I am born in the darkness of ignorance. Right? Om Agyana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Right? The spiritual master has shown me the torchlight of knowledge, which is the spiritual knowledge, right? Om Agyana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I pay my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual master who has opened my eyes, which was filled with ignorance, with the torchlight of knowledge. That's exactly what Prabhupada is mentioning here. The material world is by nature dark. Why? Because in this material world, we are clouded by our desire of sense gratification, that we cannot see things as they are. Right? So what are we supposed to do? We have to first of all, we need to inquire about how to get out of this ignorance. That is a transcendental inquiry. If I'm going to ask, how can I better my ahara, nidra, bayam, and maitunam, right? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then I'm only learning something which even an animal is able to do. That's what we were discussing yesterday or day before. right? Even animals are able to do this eating, mating, and sleeping and defending, right? As human beings, if we also do that only and inquire about that only, then we are simply two-legged animals, right? However, what is supposed to be inquired by the human being is atato brahma jignasa. I have to inquire about the absolute truth. I have to inquire about who I am. What is my relationship with the Lord? Why am I suffering here in this material world? Right? When I inquire about these transcendental subject matters, then I actually come to the platform of becoming a human being in my consciousness, right? I may look like a human being with two hands and two legs and two hands, right? But in my consciousness, I'm still an animal if I don't inquire into transcendental subject matters. And then Prabhupada talks about Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhi. Out of thousands, Manushyanam Sahasreshu, out of thousands, Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye. What is that Siddhi? That Siddhi is one who tries to attain what is the perfection. What is the perfection? Yatata api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Whoever knows me in truth, tattvataha means in truth. Right? Whoever knows me in truth is the only person who has achieved perfection. Otherwise, all of the knowledge that we get is going to only result in punha punha charvita charvananam. Again and again, we try to acquire knowledge that will probably get us a better job, get us more money, but will keep us entangled in this material world. But what is that knowledge that will help us liberate from the three modes of material nature? That is atato brahma jignasa. That is the inquiry into the absolute truth. All right. So let's go forward and read it. Okay, I see a couple of hands up now. Kirti Mataji, go ahead. Thus, out of many perfected that we already read. Yeah, okay, you can read from there. Thus, out of many perfected spiritualists.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thus, out of many perfected spiritualists, one man may know what Krishna actually is. As this verse indicates, the subject matter of Krishna is not so easy. It is very difficult. Yet the Bhagavad Gita also indicates that it is easy. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvataha yato mam tatvato gnatva vishate tad anantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And in consciousness, when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. If we accept the process of devotional service, we can understand Krishna very easily. Through it, we can understand the signs of Krishna perfectly and become eligible for entering into the spiritual kingdom. If, as the Bhagavad Gita says, after many births, we have to eventually surrender to Krishna, why not surrender to Him immediately? Why wait for many, many births? If surrender is the end of perfection, why not accept perfection immediately? Of course, the answer is that people are generally doubtful. Krishna consciousness can be attained in 1 second, or it can be had even after 1,000 births and deaths. If we choose, we can immediately become great souls by surrendering to Krishna. But because we have doubts whether Krishna or not Krishna is actually the Supreme, we have to take time to dissipate these doubts through study of the scriptures. By studying the Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, we can remove these doubts and make definite progress. It is a fire of knowledge that burns all doubts and fruitive activities to ashes. Sri Krishna gives the following information about the results of inquiring about the truth from one who has actually seen the truth. यज्ञात्वा न पुनर्मोहम एवं यास्यसि पांडव येन भूत्यानि अशेषानि द्रक्ष्यसि आत्मनि अतो मयि अपि चेत् असि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि यथैधांसि समिधो अग्निर् भस्मासात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि भस्मासात् कुरुते तथा. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. Bhagavad Gita 4.35 to 37.
Hare
The
Krishna. Thank
fire
you,
of
ma'am.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Danatha ma'am. So here, very beautiful analogy is given, right? Every day morning we sing Samsara Dava Analalidha Loka Tranaya Karunya Gana Gana Tvam. Right? We have, because this fire of sense gratification is burning in our heart, and that fire can be extinguished only by the mercy of a spiritual master. That is why the mercy of the spiritual master is compared to the rain, right? Because no amount of buckets of water can extinguish a forest fire, right? Because the forest fire is so huge, it's burning up everything. Only the rains can actually stop or similarly, our desires for sense gratification is also burning fire, is also burning wildly like fire. And it is only the compassion of the spiritual master, which is like the rain, can actually extinguish this fire of sense gratification that we have accumulated in our hearts over many lifetimes, right? That is why it is said that one can be the most sinful of all sinners. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. Right? Krishna tells Arjuna to declare kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya. My devotee never perishes. Arjuna, you declare. And then how does the word start? Kshipram. Kshipram means, in Tamil also we say Sikram. Sikram means quickly. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. That means even a sinner can become a saintly person very quickly. Shashvat shantir nigacchati, and can also experience peace, right? Only if he has got the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead coming through the bona fide spiritual master, right? And also Prabhupada gives a very beautiful analogy here, how the human body is said to be the best boat by which one can cross over this material existence, right? So the Bhagavatam tells about a beautiful verse where it talks about the human body being the best boat to cross this ocean of material existence. The captain of this boat or the captain of the ship is the spiritual master. Because the spiritual master has seen the truth, he knows, right? Somebody we were discussing yesterday, right? Somebody who's unbound only can unbind some other person. Somebody who's already tied down, right, with the three modes of material nature, how can he relieve somebody else from the three modes? So the spiritual masters they have the transcendental knowledge. They are already liberated. Although being in this material world, they are already liberated. They are already beyond the three modes of material nature, and hence they have the power to actually remove the ties of the three modes of material nature for us also. To such a bona fide spiritual master, we need to offer obeisances and we need to inquire very humbly, right? Because this fire of knowledge, right? How can the fire of sense gratification be destroyed, right? The fire of sense gratification can be destroyed when the spiritual master gives this compassion or this rain of mercy. That can be only extinguished by the rain of mercy from the spiritual master. And then what happens? The fire of knowledge gets awakened in the heart instead of the fire of sense gratification. So that's what is going to be talked by Prabhupada in the next paragraph. Okay, who will read? Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. The fire of knowledge is ignited from there.
Hare Krishna, pranams, Mataji.
Pranams.
The fire of knowledge is ignited by the spiritual master, and when it is ablaze, all the reactions to our works are turned to ashes. The reactions to our work or our karma are the causes for our bondage. There are good works and bad works, and in this verse, the word sarva karmani indicates both. For one who wants to be liberated from this material bondage, the reactions of both good works and bad works are detrimental. In this material world, we are attached to performing good works if we are situated in the mode of goodness. If we are in the modes of passion and ignorance, however, we do bad work in passion and ignorance. But for those who are going to be Krishna conscious, there is no need of good work or bad work. By good work, we may get a good birth in an aristocratic or wealthy family. And by bad work, we may take birth even in the animal kingdom or in degraded human families. But in any case, birth means bondage. And one who is striving for Krishna consciousness is striving for liberation from the bondage of transmigration. What is the advantage of being born in a wealthy or aristocratic family if one does not get rid of his material miseries? Whether we enjoy the reactions of good work or suffer the reactions of bad, we have to take on the material body and thereby undergo the material miseries. By engaging in the transcendental service of Krishna, we actually get out of the cycle of birth and death. But because the fire of knowledge is not burning in our minds, we accept material existence as happiness. A dog or hawk cannot understand what kind of miserable life he is passing. He actually thinks he is enjoying life. And this is called the covering or illusory influence of material energy. On the Bovary, there are so many drunkards lying in the street, and they are all thinking we are enjoying life. But those who are passing them by are thinking, oh, how miserable they are. That is the way of the illusory energy. We may be in a miserable condition, but we accept it thinking that we are very happy. This is called ignorance. But when one is awakened to knowledge, he thinks, oh, I am not happy. I want freedom. But there is no freedom. I don't want to die, but there is death. I don't want to grow old, but there is old age. I don't want diseases, but there are diseases. These are the major problems of human existence, but we ignore them and concentrate on solving the very minor problems. We consider economic development to be the most important thing, forgetting how long we shall live here in this material world. Economic development or no economic development, at the end of 60 or 100 years, our life will be finished. Even if we accumulate $1 billion, we must leave it all behind when we leave this body. We need not come to understand that in the material world, whatever we are doing is being defeated by the influence of the material nature.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Very good. Okay, so very wonderful points, right, given by Prabhupada. Prabhupada is saying, as devotees, we neither do karma or vikarma. We are not interested in getting pious credits. We are not interested in getting impious credits also. Why? Because in order to enjoy our pious credits, we need to have a material body. In order to suffer for our sinful reactions, we need to have a material body. But we don't want to get into the womb of another mother. Why? Because as long as we are in this material world, so-called happiness and distress will come and go. But ultimately, we are all suffering in this material world because this is not the place that is meant for souls, right? As Jivatmas, we want eternal bliss, we want eternal knowledge, we want eternal happiness. And that is not available in this material world. This material world, as designated by Krishna, as Dukhalayam, Ashashvatam. That means this is a place for punishment and reformation, right? Because we were envious of the Lord, because we wanted to enjoy independently, we've been sent into this prison house, which is this material existence. So just because we've got a very nice cell, an air-conditioned cell, or a very nice jail room where we are getting nice morning breakfast, afternoon lunch, evening dinner, etc. Because we are getting such facilities in this prison house, what are we thinking? Oh, I'm enjoying in this prison house. I want to continue to be here. That is what is called ignorance, right? How can we get out of this ignorance? We can get out of this ignorance when we understand what is the actual happiness, right? Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. If somebody comes back to my spiritual abode, he'll be able to enjoy eternal happiness. And that eternal happiness can never be experienced in this material world, where we're always suffering from janma, mrityu, jara, and vyadhi. Right? In between, when we don't have the pain so much, like we are always suffering, but sometimes the suffering is less, and sometimes the suffering is more. And when the suffering becomes a little less, we think, oh, now I'm in a very situated, in a very happy condition. That is what is our ignorance, right? And then Prabhupada is saying, economic development or no economic development. We may be millionaires or billionaires, or we may be paupers. All of that will end with the end of this body. And then again, we have to start learning A, B, C, D. And, we have to work very hard, right? What is that called? Papa, Bhabha, and Ma is Mrityu, right? What is that? Parishram, then Bibeti, and then because Bibeti means foaming in the mouth, right? We are doing so much of parishram that we are foaming in the mouth, and then we are bhaya. There is a lot of fear. And then finally, what happens? Mrityu is there. Why? Because all of this is happening because we don't know what is going to happen in the future. Because we are extremely anxious about the future. That is why all of this is happening. And how can we get out of this miserable condition of anxiety, fearfulness, right? Then we know that Bajahure Mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. Simply by remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nanda Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaj, we'll be able to become fearless in the face of this, whether it is because of death, whether it is because of any uncertainty in the future, whatever is our cause of fear, we can come out of this even when we are in this material body, simply if we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, right? And then Prabhupada is talking about how we have to leave everything behind when we actually leave this body. So what is that eternal bliss that we can carry with us all the time, even as we move from one body to another? It is only the process of Krishna consciousness. It is only the process of devotional service that we've done that we can take from one body to another. Otherwise, we cannot carry anything as we transmigrate from one species to another, according to our guna and karma. All right, so let's move ahead. Okay, so yes, Leelanandani Mataji, go ahead. We want freedom. We'll end with you today. Yeah, yes. We want freedom.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. We want freedom and we want to travel all over the world and all over the universe. Indeed, that is our right as spirit soul. The spirit soul in the Bhagavad Gita is called Sarvagada, which means that he has the ability to go wherever he likes. In the Siddha Lokas, there are perfected beings or yogis who can travel wherever they want without the aid of aeroplanes or other mechanical contrivances. Once we are liberated, then material conditioning, once we are liberated from material conditioning, we can become very powerful. Actually, we have no idea how powerful we are as spiritual sparks. Instead, we are very much satisfied staying on the earth and sending up a few spaceships, thinking that we have become greatly advanced in material science. We spend millions and millions of dollars constructing spaceships without knowing that we have the ability to travel wherever we want free of charge. The point is that we should cultivate our spiritual potencies by knowledge. The knowledge is already there. We simply have to accept it. In former ages, people underwent so many penances and austerities to acquire knowledge. But in this age, this process is not possible because our lives are very short and we are always disturbed. The process for this age is the process of Krishna consciousness, the chanting of Hare Krishna, which was inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If by this process we can kindle the fire of knowledge, all of the reactions of our activities will be reduced to ashes and we will be purified. Nahi jnanena sadarsham pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddha kalatmani vindati. In this material world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4.38. What is that sublime and pure knowledge? It is the knowledge that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are to detail our consciousness with the supreme consciousness. This is the purest knowledge in the material world. Here, everything is contaminated by the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness is also a kind of contamination. In goodness, one becomes aware of his position as well as transcendental subjects, etc. But his defect is in thinking. Now I have understood everything. Now I am all right. He wants to stay here. In other words, the man in the mode of goodness becomes a first-class prisoner and becoming happy in the prison house. He wants to stay there. And what to speak of those in the modes of passion and ignorance? The point is that we have to transcend even the quality of goodness. The transcendental position begins with the realization Aham Brahmasmi. I am not matter but spirit. But even this position is unsettled. More is required. Brahma Buddha Prasannatmana Sochatina Kakshati. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
everyone.
Yeah, that we will go through it tomorrow. So today, what we have understood is this knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, right? Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam sukhamukad amrita drava samyitam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhoraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Right? Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam. So when Bhagavatam is described as this transcendental knowledge is so sweet It's not even like a mango fruit. Why? Because mango fruit has got seed, it's got the peel and everything. But this is something which can be drunk. This is like a nice mango pulp or mango juice is ready for us. What do we have to do? We have to simply drink it and we have to enjoy it. Nigamat Talpatharo or Galitam Phalam, and it has become even more sweet because Shukadev Goswami is narrating it. Shukamukar Amrita Dravya Samiram, right? And Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. Rasamalayam means it has got all the transcendental knowledge, all the transcendental rasas. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. And who's relishing this? Bhuvi Bhavukaha. Yeah, the realized people are also, the self-realized people are also relishing it, and also the people who are not so self-realized are also relishing this transcendental knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the mature fruit of all mysticism, right? Sometimes people get settled for less, right? What is that called? Anima, Lagima, becoming bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest, etc. People get bewildered by such mysticism and they lose track of their goal, right? But all of this mysticism also is going to die with the body. What is going to remain eternally with the soul is this transcendental knowledge of Bhakti Yoga, pure devotional service. Right? And that's why Prabhupada is also mentioning about Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are conditioned by their nature of satisfaction and happiness and knowledge. Right? They are well versed with the scriptures. So they are happy and contented and satisfied. And in this happiness, if they are going to be happy, oh, I'm contented and happy in this way. I have so much of knowledge, I'm happy. Then what they are doing? They're conditioned to come back to this material world, life after life in a Brahminical family. But they have to still undergo Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Right? So we have to transcend even the mode of Sattva Guna, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, right? In the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. But even the mode of goodness, Prabhupada is saying, it's not a point that we want to be satisfied in, right? We want to transcend the three modes of material nature by transcending even the mode of goodness, right? And how does it begin? It all begins by Aham Brahmasmi. That means I am not matter. Whatever is there in this world as matter is subject to the three modes of material nature, right? Because we identify ourselves with the body, although the soul is spiritual, because we identify it with this material body, which is jada, which is made out of earth, water, fire, air, ether, right? Umirapo nalo vayu kam mano buddhi revacha, right? Because of we identifying ourselves with this body, which is made of the five elements, we are still subject to the three modes of material nature. Otherwise, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Padma Patra Ivambasa. One can become like a lotus. One can become like a lotus flower, although being in this material world of kichad. Right? The lotus flower blossoms in the waters, right? In the waters where it is very dirty. But the lotus actually springs itself on top, transcending the three, transcending the kichad that is there below it. Similarly, although we are in this material world, although we are suffering in this material existence, we can still become transcendental to three modes while remaining in this material body. How we will do that? We can do that by approaching a spiritual master, understanding the spiritual subject matters. That is why they said pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, right? We understand that I am an eternal spirit soul. This body is temporary. So whatever suffering is caused is due to this body, and this is only a temporary phase. This too shall change. So with this understanding of the transcendental subject matter, we will not be suffering, although we may have to undergo the pain, because as soon as we get this material body, the pain is already there, suffering is already there. But how much of transcendental knowledge that we have is going to help us transcend the three modes of material nature while situated in this material body. Here we'll end today. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So thank you so much for joining in. By studying Srila Prabhupada's books, we are preparing our consciousness, right? The whole lifetime is a preparation of consciousness for the examination that is there at the time of death. So this is what we are doing for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada in this month, right? Getting as many sponsors for Bhagavad Gita, distributing as many Bhagavad Gitas as possible, and studying Srila Prabhupada's book routinizingly. In this way, we please Prabhupada. When Prabhupada is pleased, then we please Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Then we please Radha and Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Srila Gurudev ki, Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So Hare Krishna. If anyone has any queries, And then we can take that now. Otherwise, we'll meet tomorrow morning 5 a.m. for our Brahma Murta chanting session. Hare Krishna. Okay. Yeah, tomorrow is Ekadashi. So we will have our extended session tomorrow. So I was thinking we will have it in the morning itself. So I'll post in the group what is the time. So in this way, we will do 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. Then we will do the study of Raja Vidya also. And then we'll also probably chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. According to the time that's available, we'll do all of this. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare
Srila
Krishna,
Prabhupada.
Mataji.
Yes.
Tomorrow is Bhakti Shastri, na Mataji?
Tomorrow, mostly it will get cancelled, Mataji. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But wait
Okay.
for it. That's why I will post the time according to that in the group.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you.